Mhm. Hello, everyone. So this is my first day to do my Unreal Engine development diary thing. So this is just day one. Uh, and I want to share you guys like my Unreal Engine launcher. I actually start playing with Unreal Engine 4 since day one. Once they announced from E3 last year, and I'm really excited to try to make things of my own. As you can see, like in my project, I have like tons of things, kind of like either like downloaded from the marketplace or some uh, tutorial-ish thing I did before for older version. And there are other concepts and things I do in the past that those are like never finished. Just like many other people, uh, they never finish their project. So as a motivation, I want to dedicate every Wednesday to do uh, indie game project. We'll start small and then continue from there. Hopefully, I can use this as experience to teach me how to budget and time schedule wise to how many things I need to do to finish a certain task, how many things I need to do to, from start to finish. My background is in computer science, and my current job is relating to visual effects as well. Oh, hello everyone in the chat. Sorry, is my voice too loud or something? Your voice is huge. Yeah, my voice is really big. It's like there's like dozens of projects, and I even delete some like starting from the 4.01 or port it over. So it's not the entire thing. Yeah, it is just like the current one I have. So the latest one is like 4.7, and I'm currently downloading 4.8.1. Yeah, or like the latest, whatever the latest one is. Yeah, 4.8.1. 99% completed. So to show you my latest uh, project is something like this. Okay, so basically it's a flipping block game. Oh, there's a bug or something. Never mind. Probably the update of 4.7 breaks it. So they need to be flipped in a way. Okay, this is lame. So basically, this is like kind of like my rough idea trying to do a block puzzle game. And when the pattern matches, it'll kind of cascade and destroy each other, and then the randomizer will join the new one. Oh, random voice. Interesting. I don't know if you guys hear anything weird, let me know. Um, and I have a fan running in the background, so that might also cause some random voice. That's that. So, okay, 4.8.3 download finished. I need to close the older one since I want to start from scratch. Okay, there go that. Lunch. Let's see if 4.8.3 is stable. They actually have a 4.9 preview 3 available now, but I usually don't go on preview. Okay, so new project. So before anyone venture into the stock, those like first person flying puzzle rolling side scroller kind of like a stock template, they are good for reference, but essentially it's I think they hire people to make up those templates. It's not really good for developing your full project, but it's good for you to understand what's going on inside. And for this I will not starting from those template. I'll just starting from the blank one because I want to keep my uh, game build small. If you starting a project, say like blank, and then there's like choose to have starter content or with starter content. Just don't use starter content. Or what you can do is if you want to use something from starter content, you make a project, the blank one with starter content, but save it as a totally different one. Then afterward, if you think, oh, I need some of the particle effects or I need some of the models from the starter content, you can then use migrate function to your current project. Thus, you will get like a much smaller build size. Otherwise, if you include starter content, you will have like a gig or 2 gig after you build the game to publish. That's that. So no starting content, and we're aiming for desktop console game. There you go. And I usually keep the project in the default location so that it's easier for me to manage things. And it's on the SSD, so it loads and do things faster. But my build project will be in other hard drive, not on SSD. So let's say, well, naming usually is like a tougher decision. Uh, we want to do the block games. So let's say block prototype, block prototype. And then make sure everything is fine, no starter content, nothing. Okay, create project. Hopefully the thing will catch. Oh, property. Yeah, that one, that one, that one. Yes. So one thing I noticed for OBS is if your window is like really huge and you want to do window capture, it doesn't really downscale automatically. So I have a desktop background has exactly different versions of resolutions. So I can scale it proper to match streaming resolution. So it should be pretty fine in a few seconds until we see stuff. And what? What happened? It doesn't seem to be updating. That is updating, and that is there. That's weird. Okay, I'll try to overlap them together so we can get the stream going. Okay, there you go. Yeah. So basically, this is how you start. After you start Unreal Engine, it's like this by default with blank project, and you can play, and it has that default pawn inside. So it's like a free flying pawn. You can go everywhere, and this is actually default spectator pawn as well. Like because Unreal Engine is based on Unreal and like a Unreal Tournament, right? So they have those like a flying spectator pawn as default if you don't have anything on your own. And since we are all going to build a block puzzle game, it's not going to have any playable or moving character. That's it. And escape, you can then come back to your viewport and trying to edit. One thing you could do from the get-go is actually starting from those Unreal Engine tutorial. This goes on for every single update you have. It's like every time there is an engine update and then you install a new version of the engine, it'll just go trying to go through with these. They are kind of helpful. Let me go through everything pretty quick. So, and then there's like the actual tutorial sections. Some of it is going to the document, some of it goes to their YouTube channel, which is helpful. If you are totally new with this, you need to kind of go through with some of the basics. I probably won't be able to go through all of them. So it's actually pretty good to visit their channel, like to do the tutorial. But one thing you would notice is sometimes when they do a tutorial, they use older version of Unreal Engine, so it might not be applicable to your current engine version. Uh, that might also happen when later on they move to 4.9 and then I should be stacking with the current engine version 4.8 point whatever later, so it's compatible. Yeah, so that's that. Skip this. So in case anyone don't know, you can also get the tutorial from help menu. That's helpful, and you can go to the forum and answer hub. And if you run into any question you don't know, ask on forum and answer hub is actually quite good. I don't know how the forum activity right now because I kind of left for a little bit, but hopefully we'll get back into that because I think I spent too much time trying to answer people's question instead of developing my own stuff. Yeah, that's that. So right from the get-go, if you have any question, please let me know. So since we want to develop a block game, we need some blocks. So I usually started with the basic objects. And if you in content browser, there's a tiny thing you can do is usually it just shows whatever in your current project. Since we create a blank project, there's nothing. But what you can do is try to they used to have show engine asset source panel. Interesting. So they don't have that now. Or that's interesting. Maybe I'll do something else. So let's say this is just like a basic brush. It's not a model. So it's hard. It will be harder to convert back to mesh again later. So I'll just basically new asset, blueprint class, and we want to create an actor. So these are the basic type of all Unreal Engine classes, like all the base classes you can pretty much derive from the get-go. They do have like additional classes listed on here. If you watch any of their tutorial in like more advanced level, like AI or like for example, like the Unreal I forgot the name, but their UI system, they sometimes mention in classes in this folder. But since we are doing like a simpler stuff right now, so it's this. So actor basically is the base class of almost everything. Think of it as a container and then just contains basic information for like a transform and such. And pawn is something you can possess and control. It has some basic information to allow you to replicate your movement from server to client. That's it. And character is inherited like a actor. So character is basically has something that includes a basic capsule, like they have basic physics applied on it, so you can walk around and do something. We don't use that in this development diary series. Then there's player controller. This is usually how you should place um, all your control function. If you watch some of the tutorial or some of the template project, they actually embedded the control into the pawn itself, which is not good because once you get to a more complicated stage, your control will be like all over the place. Say you have three different type of character, but you have those like a X button or Y button mapping to a certain function. Let's say later on you want to switch those button around, or you want to do a different thing. Then you have to say, then you have to try to readjust them all in each of the character class. That's not good. So what I do is I lay out the basic um, like function how they have interface. So all the character will inherit some interface, and then when the player controller issue a command, it will actually goes to the character or the pawn you are controlling, which makes it like a more clear cut. So in the future, and then if you want to suddenly change your button layout or some functions uh, without using the project settings, then there is an easier way to go from player controller class. And game mode is where you do all the game logic wise thing. So for example, if you score, you should do it in game mode. If you like to spawn something or destroy something, anything that should affect all the client, it should be done in game mode. Because there's two things. Because one, game mode only exists on server, and the replication which pass information around it only happens from server to client. There are many people on the forum asking, "Oh, why isn't my behavior goes to the other client?" Or say, "I can do something on my server side and it looks fine on my client, but if I do something on my client side, it doesn't happen on my server side." That's because whatever things happen to a character, it needs to be happen on the server side. There's like no exception. You can pass the information around and tell the server side to do things for you, to your character, or like for us, it's like a block, or for something else, it might be a ball. Uh, that only everything needs to happen on the server side in order for it to replicate properly to all the clients. So just remember that that's like a rule, golden rule number one. There is no exception. So, and then there's actor component. We might get into that later, and then sync component. Basically, like it's pretty self-explanatory description. Okay, let's go and create an actor. Let's say this is our base block. Base block. Loading base block. So once you go in, you'll see there is a base block, default scene root, and what we want to do is actually to get a mesh in. What we want to do is add component, and then there should be a static mesh. La, 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 la. Static mesh, yes. And then this is our block mesh. And this is like okay, so many people will get confused by this. So default scene rule should not really be the mesh itself, because there's two reasons. One is on default scene rule, there's only like a scale here. So you can't really change the relative position according to your global root. For something like, for example, if you have something, your pivot is right here, but say you want to move it upwards, you can. If you are using block mesh as a scene rule, you can move it freely. So let's, without further ado, let's do it really quick. So here is where we try to get the engine content in viewer thing, say here. So this is what I use to display all the in engine mesh or in engine content. This is pretty useful. And after I click this, it should show up in the asset browser as well. So that's that. And then you don't need to build anything before you have those basic mesh available to you like this. So, okay, now it's big. To show you why we need to adjust the static mesh, let me just hit compile so everything goes through properly. And then drag this block over to our level. So anything you drop on the level, it will automatically try to place it on the closest like a blocking object. So it will kind of like neatly line up with their pivot. But if I place it in, you can see the origin. Let me adjust this a little bit so it's bigger. So you can see the origin is not lining up on the floor. Say if we created a block, we wanted to sit pretty tight like here, but no, it's not going to do that. It's going to be like sitting like right here because the pivot is not changing. So what we need to do is we go back to our browser. See, like right now the engine content is here. So in the future, if you want to access, it's easier. I don't know why. Before it used to have, you can right click and then just show engine content here, but somehow they removed the option. So to do that, we need to first realign our thing. So you can do that in a different view to make sure you actually move to a proper location. And let's say top view to make sure, yeah, it's centered, perspective. Now, this is probably not a really good block. Uh, it's like just basically a cube. But when we do like the flip block game I showed a little bit earlier, we want it to be kind of semi-flat-ish so we can flip it around. So what we need to do is to scale it. So Unreal Engine is Z up system, so the height is in Z. Or I don't know if they actually have it here. Let's just adjust here. So Z, let's say 0.2, maybe too narrow, 0.3. Looks to be a decent size. Go back to your view and realign it. So like see, like right now I cannot realign it because I choose like 0.3. You can, however, because the snapping is here. So if you're snapping to 10, you are not going to align it properly. You can change it to snapping to 1. So you can align it more better. Or the other option would be, say, change it to 5 and maybe say 0.25. Still not matching that properly. So I guess I still like 0.3 more. Let's do it. And just change the snap into 1 so you can move it freely. Make sure they are the same. And I don't know how this sphere come up, so we'll get around that later. And by default, it's really ugly material. You can also change it to a different one. I usually like to use the matte one. You can also search here, matte. Wait, I think they do have a matte before. So there's a lot of material you can go through. Default material. See how that goes. Perspective. Still the ugly one. If now we're just going to build the default self or this one. No, that's pretty not convincing. Lower plane material. Not good. The gray one. Okay, we can base on this later. Sorry, this is going raw, so I'm trying to find things. It might take longer. Okay, seems cool. Two-sided lid, 50% base color. This is also cool. And there's like some basic and starting and let's build it with that. And they used to have a matte thing or like that. Gray ball. Okay, this seems to be the that one we want. Okay, compile and see our thing. Okay, now there's that gray ball. I need to get rid of it. That's new. So choose something to know. Parent socket. Maybe in the info start is take enable. Blah, blah, blah. That one. How come it has that small? That's interesting. Hmm. Okay. To do it, save everything first. As oh, this is the level we want to save. Let's say block as level before we actually do anything important. Now let's create a new actor to see what's causing the print actor. Yes. I want to get rid of this ball. Break it in again. Go to root. It's interesting. Drag something here. Okay, so that sphere doesn't actually show up. It's just like a representation of it. Let's get the visible back. Compile. Play. Yeah, it's not visible, which is kind of good and annoying. It's good because you know where your pivot is, but it's bad because you will kind of have those sphere littering around in your level. And I might have to, maybe there is a editor preference or project setting. We can get rid of the pivot sphere. Experience, automation, live streaming, la la la. Level editor. Close. Aspect ratio. It. There's no all that kind of no good because I cannot even disable that sphere. Or if anyone knows how to disable that sphere, let me know. Or I maybe need to do a little bit search on it. But let's get straight into action. I'll do that later and maybe update in future video stream. Let's delete this guy. So when you delete, it'll try to see if this blueprint is referenced by any other asset. For this case, we already dragged one into the level, and then it will show warning and see if it can be safely deleted. So let's cancel and then delete the actor on the level, and then delete it again. So now it's instead of 3 reference, it only have 2 reference now. I think you can actually see reference, or just proceed it, doesn't matter. Okay, now we have our block here. This, and like I said, we want to have a controller. This is going to be our player controller. Let's just say block controller. It usually comes with camera. Don't really care about it. This can be reassigned and attached to a different camera whenever a player goes in the engine or spawn in the engine. You can swap it to a different one. So maybe later we'll put a camera in the level as our reference camera when we start the game. So that's that. And event graph. So usually when you go in, there is a begin play. So this thing only started every time you finish load a level and when the player is spawned. And event tick is every time a frame finish rendering and before it's ready to render next frame, it will go through all the object and try to run through event tick. So if you want to do something heavy, don't do it with event tick. process. And we'll do that in it. Now goes. So to adjust our settings, we need to go to project settings and we need to bind some of our inputs first, so it's easier for us to remember what's going on. So we can say use mouse for touch. Yes, we can later on doing like a maybe port to Android or other mobile platform, but right now we can enable this. Smoothing, double click kind is where you adjust the double click. File show touch interface. So now for our block game, we might want to just have say a mouse left button clicking, right? So it's like a drag and drop function. So we need to get action mapping, so it's like left button here, and then select mouse left button, and say we need the reset button, right? For example, if you stuck in a puzzle game, you want to have a reset, then we need to have a reset button. So to reset again, so we just set it to R. So it's keyboard R. The good thing about this action mapping would be if you uh, if you have multiple keys want to bind to the same thing, you can do it. For example, if I want to use the gamepad, I can do this with gamepad, and there should be a special face button, sugar, special left, which is usually the select button, and then special right is the uh, pause menu, like a start button. So usually the left one would be good candidate for resetting. And then we have maybe, I think, not much. That should get us started pretty fast. I think that's enough. And when you do want to have a menu button or like say stop buttons to stop the game running, please don't use escape, because if you try to use escape, it will actually not be called if you run the game in engine, because in engine an escape cancels everything. So if you want to have a game menu, if you hit escape and then say, oh, if you want to resume game, if you want to change options, or if you want to actually exit again, it will not be called, because the Unreal Engine will just cancel the whole game and then close it. So don't use this as your primary pause game if you want to bind it to keyboard as prototype. Do it like at much later stage, or unless you want to run the game in an independent instance. We can do that later, but right now I just like for prototype reason I don't usually use that. So that's that. Check setting done. Save. Okay. Now we have that. Now with block controller, class default manager class, we need to disable things first. Station, force feedback, input feedback. Okay, there's no Pong related, right? Auto manage active cannot target, that we want to not setting, because we want to have a different view camera target. Uh, Mouse cursor, quick event, touch event, mouse over event. Yeah, mouse over event might be useful. So enable that. Uh, Touch over event. This I don't know. Default mouse cursor. Okay, that seems to be good. Now open event graph. So we just have two things. One is left button, one is reset button. So in order to get the keys going, you want to have a left button. So this happens whenever you press and release your mouse button or any other button you assign to it. And we have a reset button here. This is our reset button. Uh, oh shit, is it crashing on me? No, please don't. Okay. Now you can zoom in. Alright, let's say when pressed left mouse button, we want to print something. Left button press. So usually when you try to do a debug message, the print string doesn't actually tell you where it comes from. So what I do is I usually put in the class name. So I would say block controller and then the message itself. And then duplicate for the reset button, set button press. And you can compare it like every time you see the gears change to something else. For example, if I create a different node, say I want to call events. Let's say get is usually a get there. A widget. Oh, process. Okay. Interesting. So originally you can get the actor you possess from here. But maybe it's not doing that anymore. Oh, so right now it has get actor list from component. Hmm, interesting. Oh, let's say get actor platform name. Doesn't matter. It just like return which platform you're on. So basically anytime this gear with question mark shows up, make sure you click compile before you save. Now, I think the later version does it for you, but to be safe, I just do it regularly. Now we can try to do a playtest. Now, if you have that, if you left click, that's interesting. Oh, doesn't issue my command. Okay, that's also totally new to me. Oh yeah, I forgot. Totally forgot one really important thing. So before you do that, you also need to create a demo class. This is important because everything, like the default controller, the default player class, and default everything starting from this demo. So it would be block demo. I'll just use GM as short. Now you have to go to Blueprint, demo, and choose like the default one as block GM. Now after that's set, you can go to demo, and then you can see there is like a new default one. And the player controller, you can select your block controller, which is we created earlier. Now everything is set, we save and then play. If I click left mouse button, it should start doing things. Okay, reset button is okay. The left click is not. Okay, now escape, debug what's wrong with it. Controller, input, action, left mouse button, pressed, release. Seems to be fine. So maybe we didn't save it in the project settings. Input, action, left button, left mouse button. Yeah, there is left mouse button. It's totally weird. Okay, let's do for a debug purpose. Let's just say we want to use keyboard left as our replacement for left mouse button. And save, play again. Clicking doesn't work. Oh, this is the on-screen control. It's interesting. And reset button works. Left, okay, left button also works, but not the left mouse button. I wonder if the touch enable disable that. Check pretty quick. Input use mouse for touch. Disable this. Okay. Okay, so basically, I think they changed it because of people requesting. So with left click, if you want to use it for touch event, it will disable the clicking, which is bad. But we'll roll with that. Now we know all the buttons are working now. Let's go to make sure we have a proper interface. So this is a pretty interesting concept. The interface you can design is a list of functions you can call to whoever implement that interface. Why are we doing that? Say if you have three type of different character, or say for our block game, like maybe in the future there is a block with different behavior when you left click on it, right? So instead of uh, like implementing everything and then inherit, you can actually have different base block type, and then you can implement different function when they are clicked in your function. and you can change, like, all of the inherited interface will have the same function available to you. So you don't have to recreate the same function or like the event name in every block or block types. It will become pretty apparent later on, but I think it's a proper strategy to use the interface. So that would be Blueprint interface. Okay, this is our block interface. So anything goes from controller will pass, we'll try to call things on a block interface. Okay, so with block interface, we want to create several new functions. So by flipping, you might have different flipping directions. So we want to flip direction. And we need to do is having new inputs. Here. So direction, we have, say, just up, down, left, right. You can use it in different ways. For me, I would like to have an enum. So we have to create an enum later. What else would need to pass? For flip direction, this is probably enough. Yes. Let's start really, really simple. Flip right. Direction. So we need to create enum first. Let's go. So enum is basically a list of option, like a limited option you can have. Enum, enum. Let's see. Yeah, okay, enum. So this is our direction. I just use dir enum. Maybe not so good. Just enum, fine. And now we open it. So you can just create 4, and this will be up, down, left, and right. That would be it. Save it, close it. Now you can choose your block. Oh, no, it's DIREN. Okay. So now you have your default direction for your function. So usually output is limited. If your block needs to emit anything in this function, then you might need to do so. But right now we're just keeping it really simple now. So this is what we want to do. It might seem redundant first to have this many classes or things created, but it will be good in the long run. Trust me, I do a lot of prototype already. So block interface, which is good. That need to know. So mouse over enable mouse over event, enable mouse over event. Testing. Good. Search is usually really okay. Huh. Hi. Let's do it from a block then. Block. Mouse over. Mouse over event. Then. Okay. Event actor begin mouse cursor over. That would be cool. Mouse over. Mouse and cursor over. File. Okay, now we want to do something just to show if it's working. So we need to have, we need to start categorizing these pretty soon because it's going to grow really, really quickly. So we need to new folder. This will be, say, Blueprint. New folder. This will be meshes folder. This will be materials. An easy way to check is to reference to how the engine lists things. So basically mimic that. Maps have to move things around. So blueprint, go to blueprint, move block GN controller or interface. We need to have an interface. So let's do this here. Move test level, go to maps, move material we don't have yet, meshes, and we'll just do a new folder, interfaces, folder, none. Get it tidy. Move here, none, move here. So now we need to have two material. Let's say this will be just like a really, really basic one. So let's say when mouse hovers over, it will use material one, and when mouse not hover over it, it will use material two. There is actually a really good example in the content example thing you can download from Marketplace. If you are totally new from it, you should really get this from Marketplace. Uh, uh, is it even showing? Damn it. That's I. Uh, uh, so in Marketplace, you can go and then there will be community samples and blueprints. If you go to blueprints, there should be a content example. No, not here. That. There should always be a content example. Connect. UTS. Okay, here. It's in learn engine feature samples. This one is super important. Basically, anytime you started with a new engine, this is usually the first thing I do. I download the updated content example and see what's updated in it. This usually update from time to time and have like latest example on pretty much every single feature in it, except the experimental one. Sometimes they do put like experimental things for example, like the UMG, Unreal Motion Graphic for UI. I remember they put in an example in when it's 4.6. It's actually quite useful if you want to explore deeper before people making a tutorial of it. So that's really important to download. Should I download for 4.8.3? Yes, I should. So that would be that. Then we should go back to Unreal Engine 4. Now, we want to create two materials. One is when hover mouse over. So to follow the convention, so it's and mouse over, and one is and mouse off. Click to edit, and now it's nicely done. So let's just do really simple one. We want to create a variable, color, actually drag from this. So here was vectors. Yeah. I remember they have a variable vector or something like colors. Parameters, okay. That's what we want to do just in case in the future we want to have different things. That vector parameter. So that would be our color. Default value would be, say, this is mouse off. Let's say we're defaulted to blue. Pick some random blue color like that. Maybe a little bit too bright. Wait a little bit. And that looks fine. Like that, yeah. Okay. So for this, we want to rename the parameter name. Say this is mouse off color. That would be it. Save. Now we go back and double click the mouse over one. Vector parameter. So this time we'll choose this red, darker red. A little bit brighter, more saturated. That looks good. And changes to mouse over color. Save. Okay. Now here comes the interesting part. How do you know what like we choose like a gray color for the default blocks? Uh, how do you tell it's good to go when, or like say if you have different block and you want to have the default material attached, right? How do you do it? Show you how to do it. In construction, this is where an object started being uh, uh, like when an object created. So it also runs whenever you drag a new actor onto your level. So this is actually quite useful if you want to have something doing things on the fly. If you ever view any community asset available for purchase, there is like a dynamic ladders. That's how construction script work. Like it basically shoots the ray and detects what the ground is, and then if you move the ladder up and down, it automatically extends. Yeah, but we are just going to create dynamic uh, instance of our materials. So create dynamic material instance. So we want to do the and mouse off. So this will be the first one. And then we have to copy paste. No, this I just hit the C. Wait, V, yeah. And then we want to have one is and mouse over. Why dynamic? Dynamic one basically means if you create an instance, it will be reused for whatever like actor is using. So you don't end up creating many instances of your default material. Actually, you create many instances of it, but you didn't create many copies of like a material object. Say if you have uh, 10,000 of those bricks, you only really want to have one material for mouse off and one material for mouse over instead of 10,000 copy of those shaders in your engine. That's why we need to have a material instance instead of creating the material itself. Now, you notice like we have a reference return, so we need to save that. In order to save that, we need to have a new variable, save it. Now we need to have, this is the mouse off. You just dynamic material so I know it. Material instance dynamic, yep, that one. Non-editable, expose on spawn. Maybe not. Private, category, replication, none. If it's not dynamic, it's not a dynamic material, you don't really need to do your replication on that. So that's that. And we need to create another one, which is mouse over the end. So we need to set those, mouse off, that, and connect the pins, and mouse over, that, oh, no, set, that, connect the pins, and we need to get our block mesh because we want to set the mesh material set material Okay, now when set material, there is a element index. So if you are familiar with any asset creation, you will notice like whenever you create a model, there is like a UVs for your texture. Then this element index basically means which UV set you want to use, want to apply. So if you have uh, say two textures for your face and the rest of body, then say the UV set is one, like the face UV set is on index 0, so you can maximize the texture area, and then the body texture will be in UV set 2, which is the 1. Uh, and then there's something if you have static mesh you want to generate light maps on, which is like the default global illumination shadow map, you also need another UV set for it. But for our example, it's like going to be prototype is going to be really simple, so we're just doing this. Then mouse over, you can also do retrieve the variable here. So I think this is a neat feature. You used to only have the input and no output, and you have to connect from the original node. So this is quite nice. This is new, at least for me. So, okay, everything's set. Now you only have to connect them together. So personally, for sanity reason, uh, the old way is to say do this and then connect to the back, right? So you have like a huge graph like going on forever and then branching out. But I like to do it more compactly. So what I do is there's a node called sequence node, which does things like this. So for a sequence node, it will run through the first, second, and then third one. You can continue to add more, but we don't really need that. Just need to have two for now. So the first one to run is this, and then the second one to run is this. See, like this is much cleaner. So if you have like step 1, 2, 3, 4 type-ish of thing, use the sequence node. It will make your graph much cleaner. Compile, and once we hop back to our viewport, you'll see like the blue mouse off material is already assigned, which is expected behavior. Now we need to confirm if the mouse over thing works. So go back to our block and to event graph. So with event actor begin mouse cursor over, we want to have a visual feedback for whatever change it did to we are okay. We are right now hovering over this mouse. So any future event will go to this block, right? So we need to go get our block mesh. And since it's over, we also need to get this one. And then same thing as set material and connect it to it like that. So we need the same thing for the mouse off again, because once mouse over and mouse off and cursor over, you want to set it back to the default material. Get connected, set material, compile. So this should now do things properly. What I do is I usually also need to like to do a print, and like the controller one, we want to have block same mouse over and copy paste block mouse off. I'll, oh yeah, we need to also show the mouse cursor in our game. So in block controller, need to edit the settings, class settings, class defaults, yeah. Show mouse cursor, yeah. We want to have that just for like an actual visual feedback. I'll save everything and let's play. Everything should be correct now. Play. Now we still don't have a camera fix yet, but you can still use the WSAD and then just do this. It's like a flying spectator thing. Damn it, I don't have, I should get a better phone or something involved. Now I don't have a mouse. Do it again. Yeah, I lost the mouse button. Really? So, okay. I need to go to do something first. I'll be back really quick. Talking for, start talking for almost an hour and a half. So gotta get some water. Okay. So if you have any question, please let me know. I'll just continue. So right now we found out like the controller is giving me trouble because even if we show the cursor, it still get hover over to the spectator pawn. What we want to do is create a default pawn. So we create a blueprint class, class. Now this will be like our non-moving pawn. If you say, imagine you are playing a Tetris in 3D. You don't want your camera to move around, right? You just want to move your cursors around. So that would be our default game pawn. So this is our, we can name it default pawn. So like, okay, lock camera pawn. So basically this will just have a camera and nothing else. Now we get to have create a component. We want to add the camera. We don't need that on screen. And that's it. And we want to rotate it around. Say this is the y-axis. So 90 degrees. That's up, so negative 90 degree down. Now we can move it up. How much to go like actually depends on our preference. So this one you can actually expose it as a different parameter. So every time you drag it into a level, say you want to have 4x4 tiles or like 10x10 tiles of your blocks or something similar. If it's dynamically changing, you can expose this as a different one. But now I'm just going to say 350. Let's hope this is far enough. Compile, perspective, 90 degree, seems to be fine. Okay, that can close it and then drag one of our pawn into it. Okay, not actually drag our pawn. Okay, so here is our player start. What it does is it will try to spawn your player pawn in this location. So let's move our block here. Leave some room for rotation so it don't crash. All right. Now it's like that. Try it. So how do you set your default pawn then? It's the same as the blueprint one. So you can just, another way to set it is just to simply open this and go to class settings or the class defaults. You'll see a list. Right now the pawn is, like I said, it's a default pawn, which is like a spectator-ish free flying one. We want to have our block camera on here, and HUD will be whatever display on HUD. We'll go to this in future date. Block control spectator. See, like this is for on FPS. I don't know how a block game will require spectator phone, but that's that. And then player states saves like a per player statistic, like your health or everything else. And then game state says, for example, blue capture 3 flag, something like that. Compile and close. Now let's see if I actually play. Oh, I'm somewhere weird. Actually below. How come? That's odd. Okay, so maybe there's a phone hit detection then. Move it aside a little bit so it's not overlapping. Oh, still the same one. Save. Camera phone. Onto class default. Powerful. This is the block GM. Block camera phone. Controller. Oh, right. I remember you don't have that controller auto. Let's try to get this back. Still not doing it upside down. Come. Keyboard. Camera is here. Use pawn control rotation. Nope. And as default, no control rotation, which is correct. Replicate movement. That doesn't matter to us. That seems to be right. Lock controller. Show mouse cursor. We disable that. This is really okay. Guess what? I'm going to set the default map and mode just in case. So default map is the block test level. Startup map is also block test level, just for now. And then there's the default game mode. We are block game mode. Block camera phone HUD controller game state. Ooh, now this should yeah, okay. See? So right now we have our game mode set properly through project settings. When our mouse over, it's going to change it to red, and then says in the message it says block mouse over. And when my mouse is off, it will change it back to blue, and then says block mouse off. So this is our starting point. And then when I click, it will say left button click press, and reset button also work. Yeah. So we still have 30 minutes left. Let's see how far we can go. And let's go to base block. So we have these two things. Now we need to uh, instead of sending it back and forth, we do it better. That doesn't matter. We can still inherit our interface first. So in your base block, there's a class settings, and then there's interfaces. Oh, we're still running. Okay, we just stop before we can add new things. So there's no interface, but we want to add one. Block interface. Yep, it. So now in your functions, we should. Oh, since we only have input, it doesn't show up. Damn it, APAC, it's still not fixing this for over like almost 2 years now, right? So you didn't see it, but remember we have a flip direction. Flip direction. Yep. So we have block interface, flip direction, like that. No, I want to do the event one, not the function call. Flip direction. What? Message call function. Oh, it's not an event. Okay. So we need to have an event called create a custom event. So custom event. Yeah, that. So this one would be change the name, say lit to dir. And then we need the input which is flip direction, and ours the direction en. That compile, ignore the error. Okay, now we have to call the flip direction. And then connect it to it. Now we have that. How come there's no flip direction for me to do? Variable, macros, construction script. That's interesting. So usually after you inherit, you should be able to create function yourself. How come it's not showing up? Let's go to interface, see if it's working properly. Click direction, description, la la la. We probably don't need to have one. Seems to be fine. Settings, block interface, compile, defaults. That's really weird. I should at least be able to override a function. Huh. Okay. How come it didn't show up earlier? Okay. Now we probably don't need this, but just save it just in case. How many? 20 minutes left. So with this, we usually can break it up or use a select or switch. No, select is multiple to one, so we need to have switch. Yeah. See, like there's like a up, down, left, right direction. So after this is called, we want to have our block mesh and say to do a rotation. Set relative rotation. And we'll just start with this first. So there's like a roll, pitch, yaw. So basically, we only really want pitch and yaw because roll is around the z axis. We'll experiment with that just in case. So see up is set relative rotation. Let's say we just do a pitch for Then down is the same one. Pitch for -10. And left is maybe yaw for -10. And right is we paste still faster. Pitch +10. Oh, I need to zero the pitch. So this +10, -10, delete. So up down on pitch and left right on yaw. Okay. Now that's all set. We also need to connect these to all the targets. We want to not on self. Self is like the whole actor itself. We just want to rotate the mesh. That's done. So as a hack, we can do this. Remember I said don't do anything directly like input wise inside, but sometimes before you want to make sure all these up, down, left, right is correct. You want to do some hack first. So we'll just use the left button and the right button and up button, down button. So what we do is actually call the function flip direction, call function select direction. Okay. So we need to call on self. That's correct. And then just use up, down, left, right. Like if you use the enum, it's so easy to be just use these drop down box. If you use say like an integer, like a 1, 2, 3, 4 as 4 different direction, then you end up has like 1, 2, 3, 4 in your graph and you don't know what's going on. So this is left, we just set left and then copy paste. This is right, set to right. Up, delete up, down, set it to down. Down, okay, check, left, right, up, down. So like right now you already see all of those here. In the future, it will probably be called from some event like flip the direction, right? So then it will go call itself and doing all these on its own from somewhere else. For temporary reason, we have to call it from here. Compile, and let's check if it's working. So left, right, up, down. Interesting. Not process. Oh, I need to enable input. Yep, that's where you learn stuff. So in order for your input to pass on to the object itself, you need to enable input if it's not the pawn itself. The thing is really simple. Like all the Unreal input, like either it's from your mouse, your gamepad, your keyboard, or any input device, or say in the future like Oculus Rift, right? It will go through certain steps. The first one will be the world objects. If they have input enabled, all the input will be intercepted by them. And if they actually have an input process, they will delete the input. And then it becomes pawn itself. Then it becomes the controller. And then eventually it's the engine. So we need to enable when mouse cursor is over. So that, and then when mouse cursor is over, we need to enable input. And player controller is our player get player controller. Since we are like puzzle game, so 0 is fine. But like if possible, this should be done on a different location. But since we are single player, so it's fine to do with this. If you are doing like a multiplayer or you have like a 2 gamepad or something, you need to deal with this more carefully and possibly have different approach. Then we have disable input, player controller. Okay, compile, play. Now when mouse is over, okay, left right is working, but it's on the yo, I guess, so it's wrong. And okay, up down is wrong. Up down should be the left right. We need to replace left right with the third one we haven't touched yet. But it doesn't accumulate, which is interesting. Stop, go to our block. So that's how you debug. So right now we know up down is left right. Do it again. Up down is left right. So up is left, down is right. Up is left, down is right. So start. We actually just copy these over and up to here. No, right. Up, right here. And you can auto click to disable things. And then since this is not working, we don't do yaw, set it to 0. And 10 minus 10. Let's say guessing as well. So we need to know if it's correct later. So rearrange my graph. Okay, let me do something first. So the one good thing is you can group your graph and then press C to create a common box to encircle all your nodes. And this is like the mouse over event. The good thing is it could be really far out and you can still see mouse over event really clear, like even all the way out, right? So I'll put it here because it's already done. This is for future one, so I move it here. This is the debug input. Input. How many time do we have left? Still 10 minutes. Debug input. So we'll remember to delete those in the future. Split fraction. Those can be back here. Okay, compile and start. Mouse over, up, down. Okay, so up and down is actually reverse direction. Left and right is proper now. Left, right, left, right. Okay, this is the cool part. So up is reverse, so up is -10, down is +10. So of course we want to accumulate, right? So we want it to continue to rotate. Before we introduce animation, we want it to, if I go up, it will continue to go up. So we need to introduce accumulated process. So how do we do that? We need to get rotation. Also, actually, we can add relative rotation. That would be better. Yeah, to replace with this one. But eventually, you want to change it to something else. Let's do it. -10. What goes here? 8, 8, paste, and here, 8, paste, move vertex 0 out, different one, pitch is 10, like left here, this guy, paste, which is -10. This guy, that. And remember to reconnect all the targets. Yeah. Okay, I'll play. Up. Oh, mouse over is done. Down, left. Oh, interesting. So I can only add left to certain level, eh? Right. That's interesting. Okay. It's bugged out. Okay. Now you can see uh once it's reversed. See, right now I flip it over, and if I still use up, it will become down because the orientation is already changed, like a totally flipped direction. Okay, now it's back again. Up and down is proper. Okay, so that's something we need to fix in the future. Cool. So that's our progress for today. So there's still 5 minutes left. I don't know. Yeah, this one watching now. I don't know if you have any question for me in the chat. Like, I don't know if Off the Grid is still watching or Jean is still watching. Any questions? Oh, so I guess no one had questions. Um, So like I said, remember to download the content example from Marketplace, and just if you have any idea or something you might wanted to do with the engine, go into it. For me personally, I learned a lot from the Blue Visual Scripting forum. I will come back here more often, but I probably won't answer as much problem like I did before. Uh, you can contact me from here or leave a comment on YouTube. You are for, oh, okay, Daniel. So Unreal Engine 4. So basically, Unreal Engine 4 is a game engine that it's totally free. You can use it to create any games you like, actually. They only take the only thing in stake is they take 5% of your profit, not profit, of your gross income of that project is. And if you use it to do something like a animation, episodic animation, like some people are kind of like experimenting now, it's totally royalty free. You can use it to do a lot of people on the forum use Unreal Engine to do architecture visualization. Like they want to build a virtual apartment or build a virtual house and then to sell it to potential clients. Those are like a actually free usage of Unreal Engine. To develop a game, you need to pay Unreal Epic games for 5% of your total revenue. So say if you have your game is like $10 and you sell over $3,000 in revenue, you need to per quarter. So if every 3 months your game has income over 3,000 USD, United States dollar, you need to pay them 5% of that $3,000. And anything, I I can't really say it, but the basic engine is really suitable for doing shooter-based games. Uh, the other games you might kind of need to tinkering it around. It's really good for multiplayer game as well. Although many people on the forum is kind of have a struggle with the multiplayer side of things. If we say if the next uh, develop diary project I will venture into multiplayer, then I will do that. But I want to start simple, so block single player game seems to be a really quick starting position. Uh, the variety is just like insane. You can have like they have an example called Tappy Chicken. Let me show you. Uh, to go to the launcher, marketplace, learn. Yeah, see, they have this Tappy Chicken available to you, and they have all other like they have a basic platformer game. They have some VR like a ready prototype. They have board games. They have 2D sprite platform as well. They have vehicle-based game. They have shooter games, and they have strategy games. So where you can control multiple characters. There's just like a lot of different things, like turn-based strategy. So these are actually good um, study projects. Don't don't base on those because you're going to run into a lot of problems. They are pretty much like people request it on the forum and or during their Twitch stream, and they say, "Oh, okay, we'll get someone to do a project like that," and then they just do try to make it up as much as fast as possible and have a basis for you to understand, okay, this may be how you want to finish things. Can I see an example of what you have done? Sure, but like I have, okay, let me see. Unreal Engine. library. I still have 6.1. So let's see. I still have 4.6. I need to close this project first. Let me save and close it so OBS don't screw up. Say from scratch. So from scratch is actually one of my older projects. It's from 4.6. Um, it's a shooter game. Oh no, it's launching 4.8. Damn it. Hopefully it doesn't screw up. Okay, it's launching 4.6, which is good. So this is a multiplayer prototype I did. Basically, it's just like a kind of dogfight-ish shooter, like you pilot a spaceship with their original example models. Loading pretty slow. Okay. Now I don't know. Let me re-enable it. Unreal Engine 4. New editor window. Number of players 1. Okay. So this, by play, you can hit enter to spawn, you can drive around, and then shoot projectiles. Okay, it's a little bit cropped, right? It's just like the top right corner. I need to move it around. Okay, move it back. So this is what I do. Oh, still too much up. To move it down a little bit more. Stretch. Damn it. One. I need to drag it down a little more. Oh yeah, okay. Now there is. So this is already multiplayer enabled. I don't right now. I don't have people to join me, so that's that. So you can do that, and it's like a 6 degree of freedom. You can like rotate the whole way around. Uh, Shift is down, space is up, rotate it around. I even put in like a particle effect and sound. If you have another player join in, then it's doable. I think I remember putting menu somewhere. Oh, escape. I have this available like for a really long time. And then let's see for another one. Let's close this guy. And this one is for mini 2. I think it's this mini one, 4.7. Let's see this one as well. I finished the from scratch out of my exploration to see how multiplayer works, and it helps me greatly. Can you set limitations? What kind of limitation do you mean? So before you can answer that, because there's like a 15-second delay. So I'm going to showcase my different prototype here. So this is a physics-based like a puzzle game thing. So when you play, you are in it, and then you can place those platforms. So, oh man. Oh, yeah, the newer version of engine kind of screwed up. So you can mouse over and then just change the direction. You can place like that, place, okay, now it's here, place another. So every time a cube will spawn and you're just bouncing off this, and once it's redirected here, this should be like level finish. So that's another different physics-based puzzle game I had, like a prototype, which is really cool. Like I would definitely continue on this in the future. And then right click is basically remove the plates on the ground. Like right click, you just remove it. I think I have a reset button somewhere. I already forgot. P? No. Okay. Q. Nah, it's already done. Okay. Escape. So that's my two like more completed version of prototype. Uh, and then there's like the build up. This is like less usable to show. And then there's the Resident Evil classic camera thing. If you Google on the forum, you'll see it. Let me see if I can find it. YouTube. So with Unreal Engine, there's like basically a lot of things you can do. The the only limitation would be, do you understand the engine enough to make your own like an implementation? Can you modify in a way to suit your game mechanic? Um, Aside of that, I don't really see like any. It's not physical, like architecture-wise limitation. There's like so many things are done with Unreal Engine. So my channel, videos, bunch, go to playlist, Unreal Engine, disk, yeah, this guy. So this was my when I tried to demo how do you implement a Resident Evil type of camera. It's this video is available in my channel. So you go to different place and move in a pawn, and then it will switch to a different camera when it enter a different area. So this is, you can actually download the example from the video. I provided link down here in Dropbox, but it was built with version 4.4.1, which is pretty old engine. I think the knowledge is still operatable in later version, that you need to download the 4.4.1 version in order to use this example project. So I guess it's time. Um, if you have any question, feel free to leave a comment or maybe PM me on Unreal Engine's forum. So I hope you guys learned anything today. I'll be really glad. So in the future, we'll just keep rolling on the block example we do today, block prototype, and hopefully it will finish the flip block thing I started a while ago. Um, I guess that's it. Thanks, Daniel, for asking question, and thanks for John and Off the Grid, like watching a while ago, even though it's I know it's kind of boring in the beginning, and it's like a raw development diary, so it's not going to be as short and more well prepared like a tutorial series. Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and welcome back in the future. I'll do Ultimate Gamer, Ultimate All-Time Gamer. Please sub my channel. I don't know that. I'll check you out and decide if I want to sub. Yeah. And it's just like I don't ask people to actively ask people to sub my channel, but yeah, I'll check you out, and thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the people tuning in actually. Yeah, if you like it, feel free to come back later. I will stream every Wednesday this development diary series. Hopefully this is going to be a good thing for me, as I usually, there's a new game coming up, and then I am totally addicted to the new game, and then just forget about my progress in doing my own game development. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.